a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy.
Dolph Ziggler. Nicholas Theodore Nemeth is an American professional wrestler. He is signed to WWE, where he performs on the SmackDown brand under the ring name Dolph Ziggler. After a prolific high school and collegiate career in amateur wrestling, where he established several school records for his alma mater Kent State University, Nemeth signed a development contract with WWE in 2004, and was sent to Ohio Valley Wrestling, where he wrestled under his real name. He was brought up to the Raw brand shortly afterwards in 2005 as the caddy sidekick to Kerwin White. He was, however, sent back to OVW shortly afterwards, where he joined the cheerleading-themed Spirit Squad as Nicky. They debuted on Raw in January 2006, and won the World Tag Team Championship once before returning to OVW that November. In September 2007, Nemeth was assigned to Florida Championship Wrestling, where he won the FCW Florida Tag Team Championship twice, with Brad Allen and later Gavin Spears. Upon his return to the main roster in September 2008, Nemeth was repackaged as Dolph Ziggler. Since then, he has found success in singles competition, and has held WWE's World Heavyweight Championship twice, being declared champion by Vicky Guerrero in 2011, and cashing in his 2012 Money in the Bank contract on Alberto Del Rio in 2013. Furthermore, he has won the Intercontinental Championship 5 times and the United States Championship twice. He has also been the sole survivor of 2 Survivor Series elimination matches at the 2012 and 2014 events. Early life. Nemeth was born in Cleveland, Ohio. He has said that he has Hungarian ancestry. He attended St. Edward High School in Lakewood, Ohio, where he was an amateur wrestler and holds the school record for most pins in a career with 82. At St. Edward, he was teammates with Gray Maynard and Andy Rovat. During his time at St. Edward, the wrestling team won the national championships on 2 occasions. Nemeth was a collegiate wrestler at Kent State University, eventually setting what was then the record for most career wins in the team's history. His record was passed in 2006. As of 2010, he stands second all-time in career victories. At Kent State, he had 121 career wins between 2000 and 2003. Nemeth won championships in 3 consecutive years. He was a 3-time All-Mid-American Conference champion, winning the 165-pounds tournament in 2000, 2002, and 2003. As of 2010, he is the last wrestler from Kent State University to have won 3 amateur wrestling championships. Ohio Valley Wrestling and main roster debut, 2004-2005. Nemeth signed a contract with World Wrestling Entertainment in 2004. He was assigned to their developmental territory Ohio Valley Wrestling, debuting as Nick Nemeth. He feuded with Paul Burchill and challenged unsuccessfully for the OVW Television Championship, losing a championship match against then-champion Ken Doane on August 12, 2005. Nemeth was called up to the Raw roster shortly afterwards, making his television debut on the September 19, 2005 episode of Sunday Night Heat. He was made the enforcer and sidekick for Chavo Guerrero Jr., who was using a golfer in-ring persona and going by the ring name of Kerwin White. As such, Nemeth became White's caddy. His wrestling debut came on an episode of Sunday Night Heat, teaming up with White in a tag team match against Shelton Benjamin and Matt Striker. After the death of Eddie Guerrero, Chavo Guerrero dropped the Kerwin White character, and Nemeth no longer played the role of his caddy and tag partner. After a few months of wrestling in dark matches and at house shows, he was sent back to OVW. The Spirit Squad, 2005-2006. Nemeth became a part of the Spirit Squad faction, a group of 5 wrestlers who used the in-ring personas of male cheerleaders, and adopted the name Nicky in OVW during late 2005. The Spirit Squad members trained with real cheerleaders and gymnasts to ensure the characters were believable. On January 23, 2006, they had their WWE television debut as a group, appearing on Raw and helping Jonathan Coachman win a Royal Rumble qualifying match against Jerry the King Lawler by performing cheers for Coachman and distracting Lawler. They later became a part of the ongoing scripted feud between WWE Chairman Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels. The heel McMahon brought in the Squad to attack Michaels on numerous occasions, including placing them in multiple handicap matches. They also wrestled in the tag team division, and on April 3, on Raw, won the World Tag Team Championship when Kenny and Mikey, with outside help from the other 3 Squad members, defeated Big Show and Kane. After winning the championship, all 5 members of the Spirit Squad were recognized as the champions, allowing any combination of them to defend the championship under the Freebird rule. In May, McMahon signed another handicap match, with the Spirit Squad facing Michaels. The match never started, however. Instead, the Spirit Squad attacked Michaels, and, as part of the storyline, shattered his knee with a steel chair. McMahon brought Triple H to the ring to attack Michaels with a sledgehammer. However, after Triple H felt that the Squad had disrespected him, he attacked the group. This led to Triple H and Michaels reforming D-Generation X, and they began a feud with the Spirit Squad. DX played various sophomoric jokes on the Squad and the McMahons, as well as defeating the Spirit Squad in handicap tag team matches at Vengeance, and a clean sweep in an elimination handicap match at Saturday Night's Main Event. At the same time as their feud with DX and their alignment with McMahon, the Squad also wrestled other teams in Raw's tag division over the World Tag Team Championship, successfully defending the championship against the teams of Jim Duggan and Eugene Charlie Haas, and Viscera, and Snitsky and Val Venis. They then entered a lengthy feud with the Highlanders, whom they eventually defeated to retain the championship at the Unforgiven pay-per-view in September. The Squad as a whole later began a losing streak, with separate members losing singles matches to Ric Flair on consecutive episodes of Raw, until Kenny managed to defeat him on the October 23 episode. It was then announced that Flair, and a WWE legend, selected by interactive voting, would wrestle the team for the World Tag Team Championship at the Cyber Sunday pay-per-view in early November. The fans chose Roddy Piper, and he and Flair defeated Kenny and Mikey to win the championship. The group disbanded on the November 27 episode of Raw, when they were defeated in a 5-on-3 handicap match by DX and Flair. In a backstage segment later that night, DX placed all members into a crate stamped OVW, Louisville, Kentucky, a reference to the developmental territory from which the Squad had come. Developmental territories, 2007-2008. Nemeth returned to OVW on January 17, 2007, at the television tapings, again using his nickname or ring name, along with Mike Mondo, formerly Mikey, and the Spirit Squad as the Frat Pack. The pair teamed with Mike Krul in a match against Seth Skyfire, Sean Spears, and Cody Runnels. The team disbanded in the early parts of 2007. Nemeth then competed in several dark matches before the OVW television tapings, competing against several wrestlers including Chris Cage, Bradley J. and Jake Hager. before he began teaming with Mondo again in August. At the end of August, Nemeth and Mike Mondo were moved to the Florida Championship Wrestling developmental territory. And in his debut there, Nemeth gained the nickname, The Natural, and defeated Hade Vanson. In November 2007, Nemeth gained Big Rob as his manager, but their alliance was short-lived. At the start of 2008, he tweaked his name to Nick Nemeth and began teaming with Brad Allen, with the pair gaining Taryn Terrell as their valet. Nemeth and Allen started a frat boy-type ring character with Terrell as a sorority girl. On March 22, Nemeth and Allen won the FCW Florida Tag Team Championship by defeating defending champions Eddie Colon and Eric Perez, but lost the championship to Colon and Perez on April 15. Throughout April and May 2008, Nemeth wrestled in several dark matches prior to Raw, losing to Kofi Kingston and Ron Killings on several occasions. Soon after, he returned to the name of Nick Nemeth and began teaming with Gavin Spears. The pair defeated Colon and Perez to win the FCW Florida Tag Team Championship on August 16, but lost it to Heath Miller and Joe Hennig less than a month later. Repackaging, 2008-2009. On September 15, 2008, Nemeth re-debuted on Raw, introducing himself in a backstage segment under the name Dolph Ziggler. On October 10, Nemeth was suspended for 30 days for a violation of WWE's wellness program policy. He returned to Raw on November 17 in a backstage segment with Rey Mysterio and Shawn Michaels. In his first match on Raw under the Ziggler name, he lost to Batista on the December 1 episode. The following week he got his first victory as Ziggler, by countout, against R-Truth. The next week on Raw, he picked up his first televised pinfall victory when he defeated Charlie Haas. Ziggler competed in the 2009 Royal Rumble match, in which he was eliminated by Kane after 21 seconds. On April 15, 2009, Ziggler was drafted to the SmackDown brand as part of the 2009 supplemental draft. He made his debut on the April 17 episode of SmackDown, defeating the United States champion Montel Vontavious Porter in a non-title match, and, as a result, the following week, he demanded a match for the championship on the May 1 episode of SmackDown. However, he failed to win the championship, after he was pinned by MVP. Ziggler then started a rivalry with the Great Khali, losing to him by disqualification after attacking Khali with a steel chair. As a result, Khali began coming out to the ring during and after Ziggler's matches, in attempt to gain revenge and to stop Ziggler from cheating. Over the next few weeks, Ziggler would defeat Khali by countout and disqualification after making it look like Khali had struck him with a steel chair. At the Bash pay-per-view, Ziggler defeated Khali in a no disqualification match by pinfall after Kane interfered and attacked Khali. Ziggler then entered an on-screen relationship with WWE Diva Maria and she became his valet. He simultaneously started a scripted rivalry with Intercontinental Champion Rey Mysterio, who defeated Ziggler at the Night of Champions and SummerSlam pay-per-views to retain the championship. In September, Mysterio lost the Intercontinental Championship to John Morrison, and Ziggler entered a feud with Morrison after defeating him by countout in a non-title match, but lost to him at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. On the episode of SmackDown following Hell in a Cell, Ziggler ended his on-screen relationship with Maria after she accidentally cost him a match against Morrison for the Intercontinental Championship. He again failed to win the Intercontinental title from Morrison twice, wrestling him to a double countout on the November 13 episode of SmackDown, and losing a 2 out of 3 falls match the following week to end the feud. Championship reigns, 2010-2012. On the February 26, 2010 episode of SmackDown, Ziggler defeated John Morrison and R-Truth in a triple threat qualifying match to compete in the Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania 26, but was ultimately unsuccessful. In June 2010, he began a romantic storyline with Vickie Guerrero, who began accompanying him to the ring. On the July 9 episode of SmackDown, Ziggler defeated Chavo Guerrero and Montel Vontavious Porter in a triple threat match to qualify for the SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder match at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, where he once again failed to win the match. On July 28, at the tapings of the August 6 episode of SmackDown, Ziggler defeated Kofi Kingston to win the WWE Intercontinental Championship for the first time. In his first title defense at SummerSlam, he retained the championship against Kingston, when the match ended in a no contest due to interference from the Nexus. Ziggler was able to make a successful title defense against Kingston at the Night of Champions pay-per-view and against Caval at Survivor Series. In November 2010, Ziggler was chosen a pro for the fourth season of NXT, with Jacob Novak as his rookie. On the January 4, 2011 episode of NXT, Ziggler won a Battle Royal to earn the right to choose a new rookie, and chose Byron Saxton. His original rookie, Novak, was the first rookie eliminated later that night. On February 8, 2011, Ziggler's second rookie, Byron Saxton, was also voted off of NXT. Ziggler successfully retained the Intercontinental Championship at TLC, tables, ladders, and chairs in a three-way ladder match against Kingston and Jack Swagger, but lost the title to Kingston at SmackDown on January 4, ending a 5-month reign at 160 days. That same night, Ziggler won a 4-way match against Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre and The Big Show to become the #1 contender to the World Heavyweight Championship. At the Royal Rumble, Ziggler was unsuccessful in his title match against Edge. On February 4, Ziggler's storyline girlfriend Vickie Guerrero, who was the acting general manager of SmackDown, banned the Spear Edge's finishing move and decided that if Edge used it, Ziggler would be awarded the championship. Ziggler was again defeated by Edge in a rematch on the February 11 episode of SmackDown, but, because Edge used the Spear, Guerrero declared Ziggler the new champion on the February 14 episode of Raw. Prior to Ziggler's official coronation ceremony on SmackDown on February 18, Guerrero also fired Edge, claiming that he had attacked SmackDown general manager Theodore Long several weeks prior. However, Long interrupted Ziggler's ceremony and accused Guerrero of orchestrating the attack, prompting Guerrero to reveal Ziggler as the attacker and Long to re-hire Edge. Long also gave Edge a rematch against Ziggler, who lost the championship back to Edge, and was then fired by Long. On the March 7 episode of Raw, Ziggler was introduced as the newest member of the Raw roster, and defeated John Morrison in a singles match. Ziggler was accompanied by Guerrero, who had also been fired from SmackDown, but she was forced to earn her spot on the Raw roster. Ziggler, along with Guerrero, and LaCool then feuded with Morrison, Trish Stratus, and Jersey Shore guest star Snooki, culminating in a mixed tag team match at WrestleMania 27, which Ziggler and his team lost. On the April 18 episode of Raw, Vickie introduced the new and improved Ziggler, who came out with his hair cut short and brown, and went on to defeat Evan Bourne in a singles match. Ziggler had re-bleached his hair by the May 23 episode of Raw. Ziggler beat United States champion Kofi Kingston in a non-title match on the May 30 episode of Raw, leading to a championship match at Capital Punishment which Ziggler won to earn his first United States championship. The next night on Raw, Kingston invoked his rematch clause in a 2 out of 3 falls match, and won via disqualification, allowing Ziggler to retain. After Jack Swagger suggested to Guerrero that she should manage him in addition to Ziggler, a jealous Ziggler teased tension with Swagger. This, coupled with Ziggler's concurrent feud with Alex Riley, led Ziggler to defend and retain his United States Championship in a fatal 4-way match against Swagger, Riley, and John Morrison at Night of Champions. On the September 19th episode of Raw, Ziggler lost a non-title match to Zack Ryder when guest star Hugh Jackman helped Ryder by punching Ziggler in the face. Although Ziggler later claimed to have a broken jaw due to Jackman's punch, it was reported that the supposed injury was fake. Later that night, Guerrero officially began managing Swagger, and Swagger began interfering in Ziggler's matches to help him win. Ziggler and Swagger unsuccessfully challenged their Boom for the WWE Tag Team Championship at Hell in a Cell and at Vengeance, where Ziggler also successfully defended the United States Championship against Ryder. He went on to successfully defend the championship against Morrison at Survivor Series. At TLC, Tables, Ladders and Chairs, Ziggler lost the United States Championship to Ryder. On the December 26th episode of Raw, Ziggler defeated WWE Champion CM Punk in a gauntlet match for a championship opportunity following interference from John Laurinaitis. The following Raw, Ziggler defeated Punk by countout after Laurinaitis interfered again. As a result, Ziggler did not win the championship. At the 2012 Royal Rumble pay-per-view, Ziggler failed to capture the WWE Championship from CM Punk. At the Elimination Chamber, Ziggler failed again to capture the WWE Championship after being eliminated second by Chris Jericho. Nemeth noted to Adarockle in an interview for the Score television network that the Elimination Chamber left him with multiple minor injuries and it is a match he least looked forward to working. On the February 27th Raw, Ziggler and Swagger unsuccessfully challenged Primo for the WWE Tag Team Championship in a triple threat tag team match, also involving Kofi Kingston and R-Truth. On the March 19th Raw, Ziggler and Swagger were announced as the newest members of Team Johnny for the 12-man tag team match at WrestleMania 28, and on the April 2nd Raw, Ziggler and Swagger unsuccessfully challenged Santino Marella for the United States Championship in a triple threat match. After the match, Ziggler began a feud with Brodus Clay, who attacked Ziggler with a headbutt after he and Swagger tried to attack Marella. On the following episode of Raw, Ziggler and Swagger were defeated by Clay and Marella in a tag team match. In the following weeks, Ziggler and Swagger lost to Clay and Hornswoggle in singles and tag matches. At Extreme Rules, Ziggler was again defeated by Clay. In May, Ziggler and Swagger unsuccessfully challenged Kofi Kingston and R-Truth for WWE Tag Team Championship, first at Over the Limit and second on the May 28th episode of Raw, resulting in Ziggler showing signs of wanting to break away from Guerrero and Swagger. On the June 11th episode of Raw, Ziggler pinned the Great Khali, Swagger, and Christian in a fatal 4-way elimination match to become the #1 contender to the World Heavyweight Championship, but at No Way Out, Ziggler lost the title match to champion Sheamus. On the following Raw, Guerrero, finally tired of the bickering between Ziggler and Swagger, arranged for a match between them. Ziggler won the match and Guerrero's affections. Ziggler received another shot at the world title on the June 29th SmackDown, but was again defeated by Sheamus in a triple threat match, also involving Alberto Del Rio.
Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?